he asked me if I planned on refinishing the floor, anywhere from $1 to $3 a square foot. This is 100 square foot space. Now, if I were to go and finish this floor, that's going to require quite a bit of sanding.
Last week's episode, we talked flooring, and I started building out the cabinet.
Just like that. Just like that.
Welcome back. My name's Jax, and I'm taking this Ford E350 cargo van and converting it into an RV.
Well, here we are again. Man, I'm sore. Body's sore, knees sore. But we're pushing through it. Now I got one cabinet already. One cabinet built, and I got a coat of primer on it. And kind of want to get as much done here. We're running out of time. And when I say I'm running out of time, is I live here in Wisconsin, and the weather gets pretty nasty. Late November, December, January, February, into March. So a lot of this build is going to come to a screeching halt. Once weather comes in. So, and that's another issue I got, is that the door is sticking. Sticking on the rubber seal up top here. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that. But like I said, I want to get as much done in here as I possibly can, especially stuff that requires paint, stuff that's going to freeze and weather dependent, whatnot. So wiring and that kind of stuff, I don't really need to, putting down flooring and stuff, I don't really need to have good weather to do that. I can do it on a cold day or whatever. So that's what I'm kind of pushing myself for, is to get as much done. Now, my plan isn't to leave until like the first part of June 2022. So I mean, I've got and that's just what my goal is set for. Basically I'm gonna sell everything, including my house, and then once the house sells, then that'll be my once I sign those papers, get the check, and then I'll be be free to go. So whenever that happens, sort of thing. But that's kind of the plan. So I do have time in the springtime to finish things up. There's quite a few items that I'm going to have to do then anyways. I'm hesitant to install the solar on the roof, so I haven't done that yet either. And the reason I'm hesitant is, like, why put it on the roof if I'm not using it? It's just going to be susceptible to weather, hail, snow, all that kind of stuff. So I'm probably not going to install the solar this year. I'll wait until the springtime. And then also underneath the vehicle, I need to install a gray water tank and run the plumbing for the shower. Underneath. And so that's stuff I'll probably have to do in the springtime too. Also, the other thing I got to wait for too is installing batteries. Unless I keep this heated, which I'm probably not going to keep this heated. One option I had is to hurry up, get solar up, and get batteries in, and then use the solar and the batteries to run a heater to keep it warm in here, because the batteries themselves have to be above 0, apparently, Fahrenheit to be able to charge. So that's a situation. January, February in Wisconsin gets pretty cold. So I don't really want to, so I'm kind of on the edge of what I want to do there too. I might wait for some of that electrical stuff to happen next year. So we'll see. But today I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to finish up working on this cabinet. Now I'd like to be able to, you know, I'd like to see what this looks like up here in place, if I can. So, but basically, this cabinet is going to go right here. Now, that's probably going to be too high, but essentially that's what the cabinet's going to look like. So that's going to be pretty cool. The door will open freely. I'm not going to go that high with it, but that's essentially what it's going to be. So that looks pretty sweet. Going to be nice cabinet space. Not too, not overly huge, but then again, it's going to be nice for storing clothes and stuff, or whatever. It's not the only storage I'm going to have in the build, anyways. I'm ducking here because of the door. You can see this is not quite tall enough for a 6'5" guy, but it'll do. It's better than having to sit down to do anything. But that's it. That's where we are today. Everything's painted interior wise. The shower is ready to go in. I got the shower stall, or the shower door. I'm not sure yet. But I'm gonna wait to work on that another day. I'd like to get the upper cabinets, built, and then I'll probably work on the shower next, and then we'll get the lower cabinets for the got the refrigerator, got the countertop, and then we'll work on getting the benches and the tables. But today I gotta take this cabinet and get it back sanded down a little bit, because I've been reusing the rollers. I've been keeping them stored in a plastic bag, and I think they're getting a little gunked up, honestly. So the finish quality isn't as good as it could be. So I've got little fuzzies or particles of sawdust. I'm definitely not painting in a clean room. So that's that. So I'm gonna hit it lightly with the sander, and then put a second coat, or put a first coat of a finished paint on. Now I've been back and forth over whether or not I'm gonna put 2 coats of primer, or because that's kind of what it's been wanting. Everything's been kind of wanting 2 coats of primer. But I don't know if I'm going to do that on the cabinets. We'll see. I've been putting 2 coats of paint on everything anyway, so that'll probably be just fine. So now, as you can see here, there's the finished quality on here. I'm going to have to change the rollers, I think, before I do any finish coat. But overall, it's not too bad. Not too shabby. We got up the first cabinet. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. There's enough clearance above the cabinet for the doorway. I did have to bring it down a little bit lower, because it seems like I measured off of the floor, so it's an equal distance from the floor to the cabinet. Now there might be a little bit of discrepancy in the elevation here, because I was hitting the rail down the other end, so I just dropped this cabinet down a fuzz more. It's not going to hurt anything. Headroom's going to be plenty fine when we get the seats and stuff in here. There's no way you'll hit your head on that, the benches. But that's it. That's one side done. Now I'm working on the second side, which I'm going to start over here on the galley. It's going to extend all the way. It's going to be two separate cabinets, but they're going to be joined. One's going to be, this part here is going to be slightly taller. It's going to be like 16 inches tall. And then the other side, the rest of it's going to be just like this cabinet here. Well, I'm not a very good cameraman. Get so wrapped up into what I'm doing, and I completely forget that I should be filming. So, nice little open shelf above the sink. And then we got two tall cabinets, about 15, 16 inches tall and a couple feet wide. And then we got three 2 foot long by 10 or 11 inch cabinets. Fits pretty nice. And then the other side's the same thing with the short sided cabinets. But it's looking pretty good. Definitely looking like it's meant to be in here. So I'm going to finish throwing some primer on this thing and call her a good day, I think. Alright, so today, let's see here. So today I'm going to work on the galley section of the countertops, or the galley cabinet space, in preparation for the countertop. Now there's only 6 foot, roughly 6 foot of galley space here, so I'm going to approach this as like a single cabinet as opposed to, you know, 2 or 3 separate cabinet spaces. So I'm just going to fill in the blanks, one section at a time, one piece at a time, and then build out the face later on. So that's what we're going to get started with today. We got to get a broom in here and do some general cleanup, but other than that, we should be in pretty good shape. I've got a mark down here on the floor. The bench is going to be 79 inches long. That'll accommodate a queen size bed. So I got that mark right down here on the floor and up on the wall. And then as a height, I've got a standard countertop height, which is 3 feet. Coming down from that, 1.5 inches, which for the thickness of the countertop will give me the top of the cabinets. So I've got a couple marks there. Now I'm gonna first strip this back and side so that I have a place the countertop, solid place for the countertop to set down onto, along all of the edges, the perimeter. And then we'll start adding in the partitions for the individual cupboard space and the space for the refrigerator, which is going to go right here. So let's get started on the first furring strip. Alright, that takes care of that. Okay. This out of square a little bit. Okay, so there's a little bit of a little bit out of square here, so I'm just gonna score. Just gonna score that. That's gonna have to get trimmed back as well. And then that'll fit nice and tight. Okay. Perfect. Alright, so panel number 3. Alright, so I'm making some drawer pockets. Let's see what that's gonna be. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, that's good. Couple of standard 1x2s here, and throw a little glue. See if I can't finish this cabinet up. Hopefully there's going to be enough room here. Made some spacers so that they get exactly where I need it to be, and I'll use a clamp here to sure that they're nice and flush. There we go. Pocket holes. Go. All right, so back at her. I'm gonna this door. I gotta get behind the door. So yeah, the basically what I'm gonna work on is I'm gonna get all these cabinets painted. I'll get the first coat of paint on. I got primed yesterday. There's a couple of spots I gotta touch up with a palm sander. This side here, I painted one coat on the bench before I installed it. These ones over here, I actually painted in place, with the exception of up there. But any rate, so that much is done. So I just gotta paint everything. So we'll put a first coat on this stuff, and you can see what it's like. So we'll throw a time lapse up for that. Thank you very much for tuning in. Be sure to check out next week's video. And if you like the content, be sure to like and subscribe.